Hello there YouTube, and thanks very much for joining me. I'm Dean the Vaping Biker, and it's a vlog time again. We've done so much over the last week. It's been a hectic couple of weeks yeah, it's great to be able to sit in front of you guys and talk. However, I am going to throw in a disclaimer right now. You're probably not going to be doing this all in one sitting. I've got a feeling this is going to be a big vlog. I've got so much new gear to show you. It's just bonkers. So we're going to get through it. So the best I can suggest is to make sure you sit down, get your vape on, have a couple of beers with you. I've not turned my phone off, and we'll crack into it. Right, a couple of little things just to go into before we really get into the guts of this thing today. My phone may beep on and off and all that sort of stuff. Unfortunately, I have got to have the sound on because while I'm recording for this, I am waiting to hear from a call from the vets to let us know if we can go and get dizzy. I'll explain more about that towards the end of the review. So if that does go off, I apologise if that's annoying. Nothing I can do about that though. The other thing is that I get asked a lot about why I don't do timestamps on my videos. See, that's the phone. That's the phone. That's not good. I get asked a lot why I don't do timestamps. In fact, if I turn my Wi-Fi off, I'll still get the calls, won't I? There we go. Let's do that, shall we? Yes, so I get asked quite a lot why I don't do timestamps. It is a little bit more than me just being too lazy, and it can be just an extra bit of a bastard bit of work, especially if a vlog goes up quite late. The idea of then processing it, getting it all there, putting the annotations in, the end screens and all that sort of stuff, putting all of the links in the description and all that gear, and then having to go through the video and find out the exact times of every little piece. It does add an extra pain in the dick time, but it's not just because of that. Trust me, it's not just because I'm lazy. Firstly, you don't have to watch them all in one go. A lot of people will whinge about videos being too long, or some people will whinge. A lot of people really like them, but if the video's too long, don't watch it in one go. There you go. How's that one? If you stop it halfway through, when you go back to it, a lot of the time it will restart pretty much in that position anyway. So, you know, I mean, I love some of Mr. Bisado's reviews, but I can't sit through a whole one all the time. So what I'll do is I'll watch half of it, I'll go away, do what else I need to do, and then come back and get back on with it. And that's kind of logic, really. It's exactly the same as if I posted 2 videos up, so it's no real biggie. The other thing is, there's 2 other reasons. First of all, one of the things that I really like about things like Nick's vlogs and Ruby's vlogs is the fact that if you're not going there for one particular device and you don't kind of go straight to that individual device, then you've got the potential of being kind of made aware of something that you may not have known about before, which I think is a good thing, you know? I mean, I may be talking about the Tesla Nano, and then I'll bring up the, I don't know, the Envy Loch Ness, for instance, and you may not have known it existed. So then you'll see it and go, oh, look at that, that's a thing, I didn't know that was there. And that may kind of inspire a little bit more interest in that product from your point of view, which is kind of the reason why we're all here in the first place. The second thing is, obviously, the kind of the first look slash the kind of show and tells that we go through in the vlogs, they're not reviews. So I'm just kind of giving you an idea of what's come in, so you've got an idea of what to expect in the review queue later on down the line. But also, it's not telling you all the ins and outs and all that sort of stuff, so that's nothing to base a purchase decision off or anything along those lines. So yeah, the idea is it's not a review, and it may kind of enlighten you to other bits and bobs as well. The end of the day, we're here on the vlog to try and have this kind of conversation. I know, a bit fairly D, isn't it? But we're trying to have a little bit of a conversation so I can let you know what's going on, and products are a part of that, but not all of it, you know? And then you can comment and we can have a discussion in the comments down below and all that sort of good stuff. So that's kind of the reason why I don't do timestamps, and it's not just a little bit, but not just because I'm a lazy fat twat. But it is a little bit. Anyway, like I said, let's get the drink on. So, for another thing to get into, I was going to say first, obviously it's not first, the written competition winner. I'm now not accepting any more entries into that one. Unfortunately, the whole Vape Jam thing and the dizzy situation, which I'll talk about at the end of the video, have kind of taken up so much time over the last 2 weeks that, and also I wanted to get a bunch of reviews out as well, that I haven't been able to dedicate as much time as I wanted to look at the written reviews. However, that has now been done, and both myself and Mrs. Biker have shortlisted. We have 4 written reviews on the shortlist. There were a lot of entries. There were a lot of entries. Some people just kind of was in a block paragraph. Some didn't have pictures. Some had spelling mistakes, horrific spelling mistakes. And like I said, it's not something that I want to get in and edit. I don't want to change what you're writing and your kind of view on things. So, you know, all it needed to do was kind of go through like a Word document and look for spelling mistakes or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, I've had to discount some of them because of that kind of thing. However, if the quality was worthwhile, then that, you know, has been looked at in a positive light. Some of the photos have been just horrific, so you can't see the product, but some of them have been really good, and we've had a sort of a fairly broad spectrum in the middle as well. And like I said, all you need to do is take pictures with your phone, and all of my thumbnails I take on my phone. I don't use any computer software. Everything is done on the phone, and I show you in my how to take macro shots of coils the picture editing software I use on the phone as well, which is something called Snapseed. So if you're unaware of that and you do want to take some pictures, go back to watch my how to take pictures of macro coils or whatever I called it, and that might give you a little bit more info. But yeah, I mean, there have been a lot there. There's been a lot of really great entries, so thank you so much for getting involved with that one. There's been so many that have been really great that I may even choose 2 and send out a couple of products in the initial space, and whether that continues will be something that we discuss. So yeah, I haven't forgotten. I'm not accepting any more entries. Any more entries after today that's it, they're not getting counted. Like I say, we have shortlisted it, and I will have to release another video, just a short one, to let you guys know who that was, but I anticipate doing that literally over the next day or 2. I'd hope to let you know today, but there's various things going on which meant that I couldn't. Anyway, we're 7 minutes into this. I've not had a vape, and have I got any juice in here? Probably not. Getting a bit of a cold. I don't know whether it's the post Vape Jam thing, or whether it's that kind of, do you guys get colds at the sort of the start of the summer? That temperature change just sort of plays with your body a little bit. I'm getting a wee bit of that. I do want to give a massive shout out. I don't know whether I have actually got it later in the video as well, but I want to give a big shout out to the wonderful Addy Tuney for sending out some Adore e-liquids. I've been having a really good time with this one. This is the Custard Delish, or Custard Delice, or Custard Delish, and that's great. This banana bondage is absolutely spectacular. There we go, some of that. Hazy custard, that's going down rather well as well. So yeah, I'm having a jolly good time with those, so thank you very much, Mr. Tuney, for sending those in. I really do appreciate it. I don't know if you can get it in the UK. I'm unaware of it. I've had a couple of messages asking where I got it because people haven't been able to find it, but yeah, it's a very nice custard, but or a range of very nice custards, at least the ones I've got. But yeah, crack on. Anyway, vape. I can't. Whoa. So we're going to hit through an idea about Vape Jam last weekend. We're going to talk about some products that I brought back from Jam. I'm going to talk about some more products that have come in the post, and then we've got some sort of other just bits and bobs. I'm also going to talk about a little bit of juice as well. So yeah, it's going to be a full one. Are you ready? I'm not sure I am. I might speak a little bit on the quicker side just to try and compress this a wee bit. If I speak really quickly, you'll have to play it at like half speed or something. Right then, so let's crack into it. Vape Jam itself. Now then, I had a great time at Vape Jam, and I know sort of quite a few people that also had a fantastic time at Vape Jam. The social thing was really, really good, and that's a kind of a big thing for me when I go to these events now. First of all, I want to catch up with friends and people that I don't get to see very often. Second of all, it's really great to meet up with vendors and people I speak to on a sort of email basis. But thirdly, I really, really enjoy meeting you people and the ones that came up and had a chat. I can't believe some of you were too nervous to come up and say hi. I've had a bunch of messages about that one. Please don't think that in the future. I'm just a jittery little fat fella that can't get words out of his mouth very often. So, you know, just come up and say hi. Don't be nervous. I don't bite. It's all good and gravy. So, but thank you very much. I tried to include a few of the shots in my post-jam vlog that I'd picked off social media where people had tagged me. So yeah, I just had a brilliant time with that, and it was so great. Everybody that came up to me was really polite, really nice, and yeah, I just had a great time with that one. So thank you so much. Now then, when it comes to sort of one of the negatives, I think, of the show, not enough hardware, not enough attainable hardware, let's put it that way. There was a modders gallery there, which was all the kind of higher end, kind of very posh mods, which were jolly expensive, and there weren't many of them to buy, and all that sort of stuff, obviously far beyond my purchasing power, but there was a lot of great stuff there. But yeah, that was in that particular niche market, if you like. When it comes to actually attainable hardware, stuff that you can get on there sort of from your B&Ms or high street stores, or stuff that you may have seen released over the last few months, I didn't see very much of that at all, unfortunately. Yes, there were a few stands there, but yeah, it could have been so much more. It was very heavily influenced by Juice, which on that note, I found a lot of the stalls just weren't appealing. Whether it's me because I'm getting old or what, I don't know. But all of these kind of bright, pizzazzy, kind of luminous, bright day glow colours and all that sort of stuff, and trying to make things super jazzy just didn't really work for me. Didn't work for me. I'm going to show you a bottle in a little while of a company that's marketing I thought was absolutely superb. But yeah, so that was a bit of a shame. And unfortunately, with a lot of the way these stands looked, there was quite a few that I just wasn't. It didn't make me want to go and try their juice. There was 2 stands on there that I went to see about the juice, and there was a very pretty girl there and all that sort of stuff. And I said, "What's the PG VG mix?" And the answer was, "Oh, I don't know." No, don't do that. If you're a company and you're trying to push your product out there, don't have a vape model there or some random model girl dressed in lycra who knows fuck all about your products. Don't do that. That's not a good thing. If you want to have someone sort of wandering around outside giving free samples and stuff, I guess so, or, you know, flyers or whatever, I guess so. But if people are working on your stand, make sure they know what you're doing. I think that's just normal marketing, isn't it? Am I being weird with that one? Just, you know, when I go, especially if it's a busy stand and the only person available to talk to is the girl that's kind of giving me the thing to, or the bloke that's giving me the thing to try, I want to be able to ask them a question and they should answer it. If you haven't got the staff to do it, get friends involved, get people who are close to your company who know about what you're doing, or even kind of give some of your kind of strong customers, you know, offer them a free ticket to Jam to work your booth with you. If that's the sort of thing that works well for you, then do it, you know. That winds me up, you know. If you get to a hardware stall and it happens, that's even worse. That just makes me want to punch kittens. It's horrific. But anyway, that's just a little bit of a ranty thing. Luckily, there wasn't too much of that, but what there was there, unfortunately, was on a couple of stands that I did like the look of, and so I did not taste as much juice as I wanted to do, which is a bit of a shame. But no, I mean, other than that, I don't think it was as big as last year. I don't know. I don't have any facts and figures. I did email them to ask to give me some information about attendance figures and all that sort of stuff, but I've not heard anything back as yet. I don't think it was as big as last year. I don't think the footprint was as big, and I don't think as many people were there. So it meant that you could get to the stands and see stuff, but there could have been more hardware stands for purchasable goods in there as well, in my opinion. Whether the people are waiting for Expo later on in May, I don't know, but that was a thing. So I've certainly heard a lot of that as well. And finally, I think there was a company there selling like Pikachu juice or some juice of that kind of thing. Just no, there's no need for that marketing. Anyway, I had a jolly good time, had a great time meeting up with Nick and Grim, both of them, as well as Ruby and Josh and all of the guys in the UK as well, and just had a brilliant time. So I enjoyed it, but I will see you all in Expo later in the year. Now then, I'm going to turn the camera off, and then we're going to come back on again, and we're going to go, I should do these little segment things like Nick does, I guess, and then we're going to come back with the products that I came back from Jam with. Let's do that then. Here we go. Righty then. I've got lots of light on me today because I have bags like bastards. It's a nightmare. Anyway, what have we got? So I've got a bunch of cool stuff, and let's get stuck into it. So most of you will know, if you've been watching for a little while, that I do have this glorious Purge mod that I have been using a lot of. I've polished it up, I think, for the 3rd time the other day, and it's already patinaing because I am using it a lot to get to grips with it, and I'm putting some crazy builds going on in there. But what I did, if you saw my vlog, post jam kind of get together video thing, I did actually have a good old chat with the guys from Purge Mods, and I also came away with this glorious Twiztid, and it's actually, I think they've called it Twiztid, T-W-I-Z-T-I-D. I don't really know why that is, but that's a thing apparently on Instagram, and look at that, that's glorious, isn't it? The big difference between these two is these are kind of a two-piece. You've got the base section and the top section going on here. This is all kind of one tube. But these two products will be in the review for the Purge coming up very soon. But this, I think, is absolutely glorious. In the same way that the Sabone tickled my fancy, this does as well. So yeah, I've been very happy with that, and it hits hard as well. I'm gonna, when it comes to reviews on mech mods, the biggest question I think any reviewer will get is, I mean, if I once this review goes out, people are going to ask me which hits harder, the Sabone or this one. And to be honest with you, when they're both brass, when they've both got similar contacts, and when the sort of construction is very similar, the voltage drop in the switch or whatever else can be very tiny and hardly perceivable. So what I'm doing is I am going to be starting like a chart thing. I'm not going all Pasado or DJ LSB on you, but I am going to try and do a chart. So I am going to rock the same atomizer with the same coil, with the same battery, in every single mech tube that I do, and then I'm going to post a chart. And so as we go on, as we go through the months, it's going to highlight kind of any differences between them. Excuse me, windy pops. So hopefully that's going to answer the which hits harder question, you know, because it's, like I say, it's super hard to tell, and that's from being a really objective person. Obviously, the fanboy in me would like to say, "Oh, such and such goes for the dark," because, you know, sometimes your brain thinks it does something that it doesn't. But yeah, so I do want to try and have some level of fact on that. And the way I'm going to measure it, I've got one of these little kind of inline voltmeter jobbies. So hopefully that, I mean, that's the best way that I can come up with doing it. So that's what's going to happen in the short term, at least, until I can find a better way of measuring it, because I still don't have a Windows computer to put my, I've got a bunch of special measuring gear, but I haven't got a Windows computer to put it on. So yeah, we'll see what happens from that one. Okay, good. Vape time. Okie dokie. So what else have we got next? The BMI Nova RDA that was given to me by Ohm's Distro. Now, that is this little puppy right here. We're going to focus with this nautical star going on right on the front there. I've got DHT drip tip on the top of there at the moment. The deck on this, excuse the coils, I've obviously been using it quite a lot. It's an interesting deck design. It's a postless affair, with a reasonably deep juice well, and yeah, it's a funky little RDA. If you've been watching my Instagram and all that sort of good stuff, then you may have seen me polishing it up, get the old Q-buds? What are they called? The things you stick in your ear. Wait, those. I cut some of those out and some metal cleaner and all that sort of stuff, and was cleaning up the inside of it. You do have to stay on top of brass RDAs. I like them, but you do have to make sure that you clean them a lot. But I think it looks nice. Airflow wise is quite good. The only challenge that I've found with this so far is sometimes with round wire builds, or if you kind of twist the legs together on a parallel build, for instance, then the holes inside are quite large, but the screws aren't. So it can be a bit of a bugger to make sure that you get hold of or you make contact with the wire when you screw in that in. Does that make sense? And also, because of the juice well, you do have to have reasonably long legs on your coils to be able to clear that up, and also get good use out of the airflow control, if that makes sense. So I will go into more of that in more detail in the review of the RDA, but let's have a little toot on that for the moment. Flavour on that is a treat as well. Now then, what else have we got? The Rebel mod. So, this little puppy came to me. Now, this one is going to cause some controversy, I may suggest. I don't know. It's a little dual battery, 3D printed DNA jobby going on in there. And it's actually really nice. I know I got one, Nick got one, Ruby got one, and all different colours and all that sort of good stuff. And we've been having a good old play with them. Now, I enjoy this a lot. There's going to be a lot of you saying, well, is that a clone of a Boxer? But I am assured that it isn't. I've gone into detail quite substantially with the guy that runs the Rebel Vape company, and he's kind of explained where they came from, how it all started, and their connection with the Boxer mod dude as well. So it's a tough one, it's a close one, but I'm fairly comfortable that this can't be classed as a clone, and I will go more into that when I do the review on this one as well. So I'm treating it in its own right for the time being, and I'm having a jolly good time with it. I think it looks great. I think that really kind of deep kind of Rebel business going on in there looks pretty cool. The button is super clicky, but it does have it's quite tight. It's quite tight in there, but obviously the buttons are just actuators that go directly onto the board, but it does mean that everything is fitted inside really nice and snug, so I've not had any issues with any, obviously nothing rattles or anything wobbly like that. And it's been performing really nicely. So I did use that quite a lot over last weekend, and yeah, we're going to be using that a heck of a lot more before I do the review. Now then, what else have we got? We have, so we've got a lot of mechanical stuff going on at the moment, which is good. I enjoy mechs a lot. Now then, we have got, I just realised I haven't gone over the videos that I've done over the last week. We'll have to do that in a bit. Maybe in between the Jam products and the new products. What I've got is, where's the mod? There it is. For my Rig V3, the Banff edition with the Roughneck V3 on top of it, they very kindly gave me the extension tube, although this is an alley tube going into a copper mod, so I've got to make sure that doesn't seize. There'll be some Noah locks going on in there, I imagine. So I can stack this mod now and just go clouds, bro clouds for days, which is going to be awesome. So that was cool. I've also finally got one of the tools, which means that I can take the switch apart. If you saw my original V3 aluminium rig review, I didn't have a tool and it was a pain in the dick. But I've got one of those now, which is great. And they also gave me a rig pig to play with. Now I chose the green one because it's a little bit of a funkier look to it than the brass, to be fair, but I wanted to see how the paint was going to hold up on the top there, just to make sure that when I do the rig review, and I'll probably include both of these in the same review, that I could tell you a little bit more about how this paint holds up under consistent use. And I've obviously got the I think this is the 2-post, yeah, this is a 2-post V2 Roughneck, I think. So we'll be looking at those in a lot more detail as well. But thank you very much to Rig for passing those on, and I'm very much looking forward to having a play with them. I do also have the adapter for the Roughnecks to have a normal kind of 510. So that's something that I'll be showing you in the reviews, because I think that's going to be quite a cool review. I'm quite looking forward to that. But yeah, this is doing what I expected a Rig to do. Early doors, when I got that aluminium one, I was a little bit disappointed about how light it was. It wasn't really that Rig thing for me, you know, but that bastard does really do a good job. Now then, what else have we got? We have got Purge, done that. BMI Nova, done that. Rebel Mod did that. Rig stuff, I've done that. Now then, a couple of juices that I have taken away from Jam, which I thought was cool. I mentioned one that I thought was just spectacular packaging and how they presented themselves, and that's these guys. Look at that for an e-liquid bottle. Obviously this size is not TPD compliant, so you're not going to be able to get them for very long, but I think these guys are from France. Is it France? I need to find out. But this is a juice that I've just started with, and I think, but how this looked and how the stand looked it just drew me into it massively. And I've got two of these bottles of different flavours to show you. But look at that. I just think that oldie worldy cool marketing is worth its weight in gold. I bloody love that. So, but I will give you more information when I use that juice in a product review later on down the line. I can't believe, I don't know why I'm so burpy, but there we go. Oh, 25 minutes in or so. Oh, told you it was going to be a long one. So what else have we got? Bear e-liquid, this one. This one is another one from the show which I've actually really been enjoying. This is the banana juice flavour, bottled in California, 3 mg. Now obviously this is a 30ml bottle, so we will be looking at smaller bottles post May 19th. But yeah, it's actually, I've got a few of the flavours, and these may even be bringing Mrs. Biker out of retirement to do a couple of juice reviews on the website. So I've really been enjoying this, but this banana one particularly has been splendid. Splendid little juice. What else have we got? Psycho Bunny. Psycho Bunny. Now Psycho Bunny have got these funky little bottles. These are all the little TPD favourite jobbies. And this particular flavour, this is the well baked one. And I think this was the Bakewell tart kind of flavour. And that is all. There's like a dribble in the bottom of that one, and that's because I vaped all of that whilst editing a video the other day. So if you like your Bakewell tart flavour vapes, that is a real good one. I have had a little try of a couple of the others as well. Can't remember the flavour profiles on any of them, but the cereal ones not so much, but that one for sure. Really, really nice. Now then, what else have we got? Oh right, so I don't have a... do I have? I don't think I have. Do I have? Do I have? I do have. There was a company called Loki. I think the company's Loki. And they do this juice. I put this on Instagram as well. This is a juice called Poseidon. And I have no idea what the... does it say what the flavour profile is? No. No, it doesn't. Hang on. I've got a thing here. Storm the ocean alongside Poseidon with this sweet tart blueberry cheesecake combined with a splash of creamy peanut butter and a wave of crisp hazelnuts. There we go. I'm very sorry, but I can't remember your name, who was working on the stand, who told me if you drink Guinness, have some of this with it and it'll go marvellously. So on one of those days, when I think it was on the Saturday when we were at Jam, I was having a couple of pints of Guinness in the evening, yeah, vaped a whole 10ml of that in one go, and it was glorious, absolutely glorious. So that is a gorgeous taste. I've got a few more to try out from that as well, but no, had a really, really good time with that. Thank you very, very much to everybody that gave me coils. It appears to be a thing now, which I'm not sad about at all. So that was very good. And do you know what? I've not got any of the coils. Oh, here we go. And this is one of the guys that gave me the coils, and I felt terrible for him, poor bugger. So let's have a look at the right box. these coils right here. Very nice man gave me these. Fucking so sorry, I've forgotten your name. But the coils come with this, some wick going on in these test tubes, a couple of coils in the bottom, a whole bunch of wick, and this is what I got. And I said, well, these are all, oh, there's a card in there. These are all very well and good, but there's nothing to tell me exactly what they are. There's no information on it. Man, you need to go back and sort that out. But there you go. There's his card for those. And he went, well, yes, had a couple of problems with that. However, I'll let you know when that changes. And it turns out that there was just a bit of a sticker issue, because the next day, the very nice man came running up to me and said, these are the stickers that should have been on the coils you had yesterday. So these stickers do actually tell us a hell of a lot more. They say what the resistance will be and all that sort of good stuff, which I'm very, very happy about indeed. So that's been superb. But like I said, I have got a whole bunch of coils which I will use in rebuildable reviews coming up. Those people that have given them to me, I will give you a shout out as long as I can remember who gave them to me. If you do give me coils at any of these events, please make sure that there's a card, or hopefully, or fingers crossed, there's a sticker on the coil thing that tells me who you are and the information about the coils. And on that note, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera off and we're going to turn it on again. We've still got a lot to do, guys. Righty, so there we go. We're back in it again. I think I need to do kind of like an advert segment, you know, just like so you're watching something on the TV and you have an advert half the way through. So when I'm going to do an hour's vlog, I'll do like a 30-second advert for, I don't know, something daft in the middle. Actually on that point, I'm still going to be looking for advertising, to some degree advertising or vlog sponsorship or whatever, but outside of vaping. So nothing to do with vaping. So it might be beard oil, it might be beer, it might be, you know, whatever that that will work alongside the kind of content that I produce on the channel, but has no kind of bearing or influence on any of the reviews that I do. So that may have to happen, and that's purely because YouTube's, I'm sure you've heard about it, YouTube's monetization and all that sort of stuff has gone a little bit awry of late, and that does mean that whilst it doesn't provide a whole bunch of money when you're looking at buying things like cameras and mics and computers and studio lights and all that sort of good stuff, you know, any kind of help helps, if that makes sense. So I'm still kind of unsure about the idea. I'm not overly comfortable with the Patreon idea, so that might have to happen if I don't get any kind of outside sponsorship for the vlogs. But we'll see how we get on with that one. You know, is that all right? I don't want you guys to have to feel that you have to contribute to the channel. Does that make sense? So because I'm doing this out of my choice, obviously, you know, it's not a thing. But, you know, if you want to buy me I don't know, a car, feel free. Now then, let's have a look at the products that have come in, shall we? And there is a lot. So, hitting in at number one, as in just the first one we're looking at today, we have the Heretic mod and Loki RDA. So this is a mod that I've got both in black over copper and a pure copper one, although I think it does have some kind of coating. Mr. Mark Todd has these as well. There you go, look, it says Heretic there. I'll put it the right way up, shall I? And it's a nice looking setup. It's super heavy. It really is heavy. Now, this is made by a company called Viking Vapes, I think. VIIKING Vapes. Look at the thickness of the tube on there. Do you see that? It's a big chunky bastard. Yeah, and it's distributed by Watofo, I believe. So I will be looking more into the details of all of that before we do the review. It's a bit weird that the RDAs that they do don't actually seem to complement the mods, but no, I mean, as far as the RDA goes, it's actually a really smooth little vape. It's a tiny little two-post jobby, but you can. I haven't got one available to show you. I haven't got one that doesn't have stuff in it to show you. You can move your posts wherever they are, and it kind of gets sandwiched in by a middle kind of, I think it's a peak layer that sandwiches in the two posts. So they're not friction fit, or they're not push fit posts, but you pop them in and then you put this kind of middle deck over the top of them, screw that down, and everything holds in. But what that means is you can then position them in a whole bunch of ways on the deck to allow you to put all different kinds of coils in, which I think is pretty cool. Or at least it would be if the holes in the posts were bigger, I think. But no, having said that, I think I've had a jolly good time with it so far. But yeah, I'm going to actually hold you on. I'm just going to write something so I don't forget it. How do I find time to test everything? I'm going to approach that at the end of this section. Now then, what else have we got? So yeah, the Heretic and the Loki, that will be getting tested. That'll have the old voltage thing that I was talking about earlier on. So we'll find out more about that one. Now then, I don't think I've shown you before, because I don't think I have. But also in from Coil Art, we've had, I've got these couple of puppies. Now I used this mech when I did my review of the Ziggs V2, which was the one, that was, I'll talk about that later. But yeah, so this is the black one. It's got a real thick coating on it, and it kind of is, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but it's not a kind of a smooth finish on there. It's kind of quite a rough, kind of funky, like a sandblasted kind of feel to it, you know. The button on this one just unscrews from the base like so. So you've got the button going on there and then screwing it up. Now it's nice to have kind of a locking mechanism on some of these mechs that are coming out. We used to, back in the day, we used to always have locking rings on mechs, but there's been a bit of a sort of a feature recently of having really heavy magnets or really heavy springs. So there's not been the requirement to have the locking ring on there, but it's nice to come back to that and have still a sort of quite a pressable kind of switch going on. But I've got this black one, and I also have this one here, which is kind of got a resin sleeve. These sleeves aren't removable. You can't kind of swap them out. They are what they are. But this does look a lot pinker in person than it does on camera, and I don't know why China is sending me pink mods, but it's a thing. No, once again, and I used this on the day out when I had, just before Jam, when I was going out and hanging out with Jess Marie and Twisted Messes, and I was surprised at how well this little puppy performed, actually. I'm obviously going to be doing both of these mods in the same review, but no, so far I'm very surprised, because I expected them, in all honesty, to be a bit poo. You know, but no, as it is, they've actually been performing really rather well. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's a difference in that kind of volt testing between those and something like the Heretic, because if we're looking at more affordable mechs, I think it's a great idea to kind of get that vibe going on. So hopefully we will find out a lot more from that one. Now then, on top of that, also that's come in, and I've been vaping this for the last, pretty much for the last week, the Cleto XO. Now, yes, it's a tank, and yes, I said I'm not going to do tanks, but I'm certainly interested in your opinion. I mean, do you want to see a video on the XO? Because it's a little bit different to the previous Cletos. We've got top-in airflow that's non-adjustable. Excuse me, that's coming through. Are we going to focus? That's coming through the top there, going down and then coming up through the coils. That kind of airflow design is actually just makes the vape really smooth, not turbulent at all, and just a really nice vape. However, that is non-controllable, so it is what it is. Now then, the coils that go in this XO are quite big chunky monkeys, which means that the tank holds the 2mm requirement for the TPD, which is great. However, if you want to, you can take that coil out and put the original Cleto coil, not the 120, the original Cleto coil, in this bad boy, and that actually, because it's thinner, that actually increases the the capacity that the tank has. So you can then get something like 3.5 or 3 and a bit mil in there. So that makes it much nicer, because if you are vaping this with the main kind of big coil in there, it does mean that you do go through juice very quickly. We are top fill on it, which makes life nice and easy. I don't know if the Cleto tip is exchangeable with other Cleto tips. So if you have a custom one that you've had made for your previous Cleto, I don't know if it's going to work on here. I'm going to see if I can find that out for you guys. Yeah, I don't know at this stage. But no, what I've got in here, I've had... I think the majority of the time I've had this, I had the original coil in it, but I took that out to put the 0.4 Cleto coil in it, and it's vaping rather well. Now, hopefully you heard there that it's just a smooth vape. That's a, yeah, 0.42, 66.6 watts coming through on that bad boy. And it's a really, really enjoyable vape. And the restriction on the lung here is quite good. For me, it works out really rather nicely. But very, very nice indeed. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts on that one. Do you want to see a video on the Cleto XO? Because I think it's the part of that Cleto family which has made quite a big inroad into vaping, I think it might be worth just doing a quick sort of a quick one and letting you know my experience after I've been vaping on it for a couple of weeks. So yeah, let me know what you think. Thank you very much in the comments down below. Thank you. What else have we got? So then we've got the Pandora RDA. Now this one's designed in the UK, which is very, very nice indeed. Now there's been people on my Instagram saying, oh, is it a Kennedy killer and all that sort of stuff. Just don't talk about things being a so-and-so killer. Let's look at RDAs in their own right, shall we? So this is the Pandora, which is a nice looking, very shiny RDA. You've either got this kind of 3-slot airflow at the bottom, or you've got a big wide hole going on. What can I do to take, let's pop it on here. Let's pop it on here. A nice big chunky RDA, which does tend to look pretty darn special on top of a whole bunch of mods. I can't remember if it's 24 or 25mm, but I'll find more out when I do the review. Can't get the top off. Can't get the top off at all. Tony Tiger Toit O-rings, and this is the deck. So we've got kind of a slotted airflow by the time it comes up to the deck, with a 4-hole 2-post arrangement going on with the screws. Nice deep juice well going on there. But the thing that I guess is kind of taking a lot of people by surprise, or giving them something to get excited about, is the top cap that goes on the top there. Yes, it does fit goon tips, I believe, but we've got this kind of thing going on here, which those vents I think are there to supposedly to help kind of push flavour into your mouth hole. Now, I've not coiled this one as yet. That one I'm not even going to be looking at for the moment, just because I've got so many other tanks, or RDAs rather, to check out. The other thing to show you is that the airflow actually comes in under the build deck and comes up under there. So I believe under the build deck itself, that's just kind of a vacuous space to hopefully allow for a really smooth airflow to come up through the posts. So rather than having to go kind of in and then up like some of these bottom airflow RDAs, it allows for a smoother draw, which is going to be exciting. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. And I think, you know, the idea is for that airflow, once it's underneath the deck, does it cool it down as well? We'll find that out before I do the review, and I'll be able to tell you more information about that. But I did just want to show you, it's nice to have a UK designed RDA to have a look at, and that's the little box for that bad boy. So yes, looking forward to getting some coils into that one. Looking at the time there, 11.5 minutes. I think I'm going to stop the camera and start it again. We're still going. And there we go. So we are still banging on through these things. I warned you. Didn't I warn you? Did I? Did I? Yes. Have you stopped this and come back to it at another time yet? Have you done that yet? Okay, so coming in from Evolution, vaping in the UK is something that I am very, very excited about. I showed you this mod when I, or sort of used this mod when I showed you the BMI, but this is the new Vapors Cloud mech. And why it's so special is because if I unscrew this section here, oh, let's not put that the wrong way up. Look, 2700 battery. Ooh. Isn't it though? Isn't it though? You do actually get a little kind of spacery thing going on in here as well, so you can use an 18650 if you really, really want to. But what you've got on this top section here is you've got this little ring, so you can take that out if you're using an 18650, so not the 2700. Otherwise, you can screw that up. You pop that little bugger on there. The threads on this are really, really nice. Once you get that nice and snug, you have a big old gap there where you see threads. So that's when you get this little ring down there, like that, and then it kind of blends in a little bit with this top kind of engraving going on here. That kind of space there does as well, which I think is quite a clever way of doing it. It's quite a short, stocky little mod, much like me, short and fat. It's the way forward. The little bend in the bottom there does mean that you can really kind of get a nice grip on it when you're pushing the button. It's got a nice strong button going on, and obviously allowing us to use the 2700 batteries that we're seeing more and more of is pretty damn exciting. Mooch did do a test on these iJoy 2700s. I'll try to remember to put a link down below for those as well. But let's have a little toot. Cloudy as you like, which I think is great. So yeah, I'm enjoying using this quite a darn lot. So I'm loving the amount of mechs I'm getting at the minute. It's really, really cool. So yeah, I am obviously trying to make sure that I do carry on with the regulated stuff as well. I'm not going full mech or anything like that. It's just at the moment they seem to be a bit of the flavour of the month, so I'm getting quite a few of them. And I like them. I like mechs. So yeah, we're going to be having a little look at that one, but thank you very much to Evolution Vaping in the UK for sending that one on. I think they do have stocks of those with the iJoy 2700 batteries, which are a pretty decent battery according to Mooch's tests, although I think the Sanyo 2700A is a little bit better, but we'll see how we get on with that one. But no, I'm going to have a jolly good time with that one, and I'm also going to try and buy a couple more 2700 batteries once I find them in stock in the UK from a reputable supplier. What else have we got? So fresh in today, even though it's a bank holiday Monday, I've managed to get a couple of things come from DHL. And this is another mech. This is the Tsunami mech from Geek Vape. Now then, a couple of things I like about this mech. First of all, I mean, I've not had a chance to coil it up yet, so I've got no idea what it's like. But obviously, I think this is a slightly updated Tsunami. I don't know. Got to have a look at that one. But the mech itself, once we take the button out, which has got a kind of a big old, have we got a focus? Focus. A big old Delrin kind of springy thing going up and down there, which is your battery adjustment. How's your father? Once we take that off, we do have inside there, you might be able to see if I get it in focus, you do have a sleeve going on, which is a great safety thing in case you have torn batteries. That doesn't come out. But once you've taken that button off, you can actually take the sleeve off as well. I don't know if Geek Vape are going to be selling different versions of the sleeves, different colours, resins or whatever else, but that's quite cool. And then once you've got the tube going on, just as so, oh, by the way, you do have a little O-ring there, which I think is nice and stops the outer sleeve rattling about. You can take this off, take the top cap off like so. That's the one with the floating 510 going on, and you can replace it with a hybrid top cap. So the reason I like this is the reason I liked the Phantom that came out from Watofo. You get options, and once again, this is going to go in the voltage test and all that sort of good stuff, but I love the fact that you have the option of having hybrid or having the floating 510 for safety, so you can put pretty much whatever you fancy on top of it, which I think is a cracker of an idea. I really, really do. I think it's a nice looking kit. I think looks wise it's not dissimilar to the Envy one that I looked at, but only because it's that kind of black and gold mix. But no, I'm looking forward to getting stuck into that. Like I said, not even coiled it up, not touched it or anything other than put it apart. Buttons nice and smooth. A little bit raspy, but it's a smooth button. It's a very smooth button. I have not even looked to see if it's springs or magnets as yet, but no. So that's very nice. Looking forward to being able to show that to you guys. Now then, another thing that we've had come in is the, what's this called? The Dovpo 1VP RDA. Now this is something that's been made in connection with someone else. Who's that? Here we go. Here we go. Let me show you a thing. There we go. That tells you stuff on there, so you can pause that and read that one if you really want to. But I've actually dug out the old Phantom. Look at that, look, because it's a little 22mm RDA, and I've just stuck it on top of there to show you for the time being. But the deck, I think, is kind of pretty simple and straightforward. It does have a ring. I think that means you can transform this from dual coil to single coil. The airflow comes in from under the deck, those kind of holes there at the base, which I think are going to be quite cool. And non-adjustable air though, non-adjustable air. And it's surprisingly airy, so I'm really looking forward to getting a build in here and seeing how that progresses. If you are super impatient and need to see a review on that, the wonderful Mr. Mark Todd has done a review on the RDA already. He had his considerably before I did, so go and check out Todd's reviews and he can tell you a little bit more about it. Obviously my review is going to be so much better, and you know, I've got a beard. It has to be. Love you, Mark. But yeah, so that's going to be happening. That's a thing. And I will get to that when I can get to it. Now then, I do also have the Voopoo mod. Oh dear. Now then, those of you that have been watching the channel for a while may remember the Woody Vapes mod that I reviewed a little while ago. I was a bit iffy on the board, to be honest with you, or at least I think it was a temp control. Now there's a company called Voopoo. do they not realise? Or is it? I'm trying to figure out if this was a joke, in as much as vooping is a thing, pooing is a thing, so voopoo is a kind of just toilet humour, or if it's a phrase that someone heard over in China and went, oh, that's really cool. I can't figure that out, but either way, it's a thing. So I've not even unboxed it yet, to be honest with you, but I think they sent it to literally every reviewer on the planet. So there will be a ton of reviews on that, and I even think Mr. Posado did do a quick look at it to have a look at the signal and all that sort of stuff. So if you want to go and see what that looks like and everything, then by all means go and see Mr. B and check out and see what he's done. So, one of the things I wanted to address, because it's quite overwhelming having this much stuff. Obviously, I've showed you guys a lot of gear today, and it's quite, you know, normal for you to be at home and you go, well, hang on, he does like 3, 4, 5, 6 reviews a week. How does he get through testing all of these products? Well, whilst not everything that comes into the review queue gets reviewed. That's number one. Number two is that generally every day I'll have 3 or 4 setups running at any given time, and obviously because I'm disabled and the work I do is from home, it's not something that I'm vaping all day, basically. So I'm using a lot of these mods on a constant basis. So like when I was saying, for instance, about the drone review, about it, I've used it pretty much daily. I really have. But just because I've used that daily, it doesn't mean that I haven't used 2 or 3 other mods on that day as well, you know? So it's one of these things that when it comes to the testing, I do test the living bejesus out of stuff, and I don't do the review. This is why some of the reviews are quite a lot later than expected, because I really want to make sure I'm tested something, or I have tested something, and occasionally something might kind of either give me problems, or something I'm not overly sure about, or I just don't feel I've had enough genuine time with it to have a good solid understanding of whether I think it's going to be a worthwhile product or not. Particularly with things like RDAs, I'd like to really test them with a massive amount of builds, and also it helps testing things like with low builds that help test the insulation on them and all that sort of stuff, high heat stuff, kind of higher ohmage and all that stuff. I get a lot of comments in the comments section saying, well, you should have tried this review, this type of coil, or you should have moved it up or down a little bit more, something like that. But let me rest assured. What is that? What is that saying? Rest assured that by the time an RDA or a tank, when I was doing those, or anything has come to the point of review, I have put so many different builds in there, so many different wires, moved things around, moved the height up and down and left and right and closer and further out and doing all sorts of things. And I think I can't remember if it was the Aromomizer Plus. I had a load of people say, oh, you should have your coils way closer to the airflow. Well, I have tried a whole bunch of those. And the thing with RDAs or RTAs or RDTAs is the fact that when you coil them, you can coil them to how you like them. And that's the thing. And when you're doing these, it's great to get examples about how to coil stuff up, but you have to play with these things. It's part of building. You have to play with them to figure out where the position works for you, and what works to how you like to vape. Does that make sense? So just because you see a particular build in a review, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's the only style of build that's been in there. There's been a lot in there before that, trust me on that one. And yeah, because I'm not comfortable with bringing you something with only like one build in it. That's it, you know. And it's for me as well, partially because I don't like getting all the hate in the comments going, oh, you shouldn't have done this, because then I can go back and say, well, I did, so fuck you. So there we go, that's that. Everything really does have just a whole bunch of testing before I show you crazy cats. Now then, I showed you a while ago about Stephen from Heart Leathercraft, who made this this little unicorn bottle holder, and it holds 15ml unicorn bottles, or I found does a marvellous job at holding these little pod system vapes, which does a fantastic job for that, which I thought was great. Then he sent me over a prototype version of this bag, which is much bigger, holds 30ml unicorn bottles, got a different catch system going on there. Excuse me, windy pops. Catch system is often used on things like the hoods of kind of the old vintage soft top cars and all that sort of stuff, but it's very cool. Got a belt loop going on there, and I've got a couple of bits of shoelace tied onto it because I had this attached to my scooter on the front of when I was going around Vape Jam, which meant that I could put stuff in and out of it, because I found not only could you put 30ml unicorn bottles in there, but I could also put mech mods in there as well, which is brilliant. So but anyway, this was very cool. So Stephen sent me those to try out, and I said, I love your work, I think what you do is really good. I'd like to find out if you can make me a wallet, and I want to buy a wallet from you. And he sent me a picture of once he'd carved this wallet out by hand. And if I can remember, I'll put a picture up here, but memory's a bit wobbly. But I looked at it and was like, oh my god, that's awesome, that's amazing. Like that a lot. But what I wasn't prepared for was how it looked when it turned up. So I've got a chain on it at the moment as well. But yes, this is the wallet that he did. Which way up is it? Look at that. Eh? How cool is that? That's marvellous, isn't it? Now then, hang on, let me take a couple of cards out just so you don't see my details of stuff. The inside even. Look at the inside. Look at the inside. How good is this? So, and this is a really thick leather, which is just going to wear in lovely. You know, the more you wear it, the more heat goes from your pockets or from your body through your pockets to the leather. That is going to work gorgeously. So I did share a link on my Facebook page, because also he's done a bunch of stuff, little leather pouches for a whole mess of mods, things like Osmodus, Minikins, V2s, Picos, I think, and just all sorts of stuff. So I just want to give a massive shout out to Steve for that, because I think it's absolutely stunning. Do I have his card in front of me? Just in case I forget to put a thing down. Yes, I do. There we go. So if you want to get any commission work or any little cases for your mods in a very sexy leather, go and check out Heart Leathercraft. The Facebook page is absolutely brilliant, so go and check that one out. Now then, is there anything else that I need to show you for new stuff? I think we've finally covered it. 15 minutes. I'm going to stop and we're going to do the last section of the vlog. And there we go. So, into the last section of the vlog. Woo! So, Okay, I wanted to say about Dizzy. Now, those of you that know Dizzy, the Spaniel, she's been in a couple of videos. She's my little pride and joy. She's an old Springer Spaniel, 15 years old. It's her birthday on Friday, and yeah, she's kind of the centre of my little universe, bless her. But unfortunately, she's been very, very ill. She was rushed into the vets on Wednesday of last week with all manner of things going wrong with her. We then had to take her out on Friday from that vet to go to a specialist over in Newmarket in the UK, where she's had lots more scans and bloods and fluids and stuff and things, and we look as though we've got kind of a strong kidney disease going on and a whole mess of things. So unfortunately, she's been very, very poorly. So this is why I'm waiting. Hopefully we can go and pick her up today, as long as the bloods have come back and they're kind of looking a little bit more normalised. It's not quite as fatal as we initially expected, which I think is brilliant. At least so far, fingers crossed it isn't. So we're waiting to find out a lot more information from the vets about that one. But it does mean that I may not have come back to answer everybody. I think there was a couple of days where I didn't really kind of answer many YouTube messages and all that sort of stuff, or comments. And I think there's been messages in both my Facebook page, my Instagram page, and emails that I may not have had a chance to get around to yet, purely because obviously if you're a pet person, then you know if your pet is desperately unwell and causes you a lot of worry, then it's a very, very emotional time. So yeah, so apologies if I haven't got back to you, but it's been and still is a pretty scary kind of time at the moment. So we're just doing everything we can. So send your positive vibes to us, that would be super. But yeah, so that's why my phone's not been on silent, and also I'm waiting to find out whether we can pick her up today or not. So that's a thing. I'm not going to get emotional. I'm not going to do it. Now then, let's have a look at the videos. Things I didn't do it at the start of this video. Let's have a quick little run through of what I've done this week, and a couple of comments that I've got over it. I have gone hell for leather. Partially one of those days, I think it was Thursday, was a day that Dizzy first went into the vets, and I just didn't want to be anywhere without her. So I sort of threw myself into the reviews. So that's why so many came out on that day. Anyway, let's have a little look at that. First of all, we've got the Lost Vape drone. Now, since this review, I mean, I've said, and a lot of other reviewers have said, that this is the dog's bollocks. It's really, really good, and I still maintain that. I think it's awesome. But someone on social media has posted something where they had an issue they reckon that they'd put a goon on the top of it, and it depressed the 510, and it had sort of auto-fired or something along those lines. I've seen two photographs that a couple of people have now, or a few people now have now sent on to me. But first of all, I've not had a chance to take mine apart to have a little look at it. Second of all, I'd like to get a little bit more information about whether it was if it was an authentic goon, if it was a goon that that they'd installed kind of an aftermarket squonk pin in, anything along those lines. And yeah, so I'd like a little bit more background info on that one. All I can say is, for the moment, I have had absolutely no problems with this, and I am unsure. I've not heard of anybody else bar this one person that's had an issue. So yeah, I will probably take this apart once again, just to have another little look and see if there's anything I think is funky in it, and I will report back in the next vlog if there is anything wobbly going on. But like I said, so far, this has just been performing brilliantly, and I really, really, really like it. And it's great to hear that in the comments that a bunch of you have bought it as well, and are getting on really well with it as well. So I would say, if you've got one, personally at this stage in time, I have no concerns with it. Or if you're thinking about ordering one, I would go ahead and go for it personally. But that's just me. Now then, after that came the Engine Nano RTA review. That was the last kind of tank, so to speak, in the queue for the time being. And yeah, it was an all right review, I guess, but it was an all right tank. Didn't kind of set the world alight, but it was very cheap and affordable, and did a pretty good job, I guess. So yeah, that was a thing. The Mulciber RDA review, that's had some pretty positive comments coming from that one, so thank you very much for those. And it is, you know, it is a funky little RDA. The O-rings could be doing done with being a little bit tighter, like I mentioned in that one. But as far as the actual vape quality that you get from it, I've had a jolly good time with it, and I maintain that I've still got it on top of my my little squonker from Darwin Mods, and I still think that that's absolutely superb. But yeah, so there we go. That's my little setup that I'm very, very happy with. After that came the Ziggs V2 RDA. Now, if you haven't seen the background on that one, what had happened is me and Lou had been having a chat, and we thought it would be funny to do each other's intros. Lou went hardcore. He went hardcore on his and did his whole review of the Mod Maker polishing rig with a British accent, kinda. But that was just excellent, and that made me laugh a lot. So I had to try and go hard on the one that I did, trying to do a bit of a Big Lou intro, but I just didn't have the staying power. I could not do a whole review on the based on my appalling accent, and if you saw the outtakes at the end, that's kind of why. So yeah, thanks very much for watching that one. But the actual RDA is pretty darn good, and I do like them. And like I said in the review, I do hope that they're going to be coming over to the UK, or at least a little bit more available, because I think they're great little RDAs. I think the airflow on them is great, the flavour is great, and they've been performing really, really well. So as long as they're affordable, everyone's a winner. After that one did come the Heretic mech, which I think I was possibly not quite as excitable as I should have been. I think that was just one of those days, I think. I do like this mech a lot, and yeah, someone winced at me saying, "Oh, you're not doing tanks." but yeah, I mean, it's not really a tank. It just kind of, I guess, and I should have said this in the review, rather than having the juice well at the bottom, you've kind of got the juice wells going up the side, if that makes sense. But no, I think this is a great looking little setup, and works really, really rather well. Great for a nice little flavour setup as well, especially if you're using round wire builds rather than big old Claptons. So yeah, I did enjoy that one quite a lot. And then finishing up with that one, finishing up the week, we did the Tesla Nano 120, which I still say is an absolute corker of a little mod. I have had I wish people, right, here's the thing. I'm not going to rant, but it's just a thing. I wish people would watch the full review before commenting sometimes. I really do. I really do. Because, you know, I had a bunch of people comment on there saying, well, the temperature control didn't work because you didn't have it locked. Well, I know that, and I said that. I said it made no bloody difference. And then... just, you know, and someone said, oh, you've got it in Canthan mode rather than temp mode. Well, no, but just, I tried to address everything into this as I could. No, non-temp control, I think it's a cracker. I think it's really, really good. A good, solid, well-performing wattage power mod, and I really, really have enjoyed using it. And like I said, this is the exact setup I used when I was at Jam, you know, so you probably would have seen me biking around with this little bad boy on the top of it. And like I also said in the review, the Geek Vape Amit dual coil tank is so much better than the original Amit, in my opinion. It's a corker. It is a bit loud. It's a bit loud, which is a bit of a shame, but other than that, I think it works really, really well. When this tank dumped out a lot of juice, it was only because I'd somehow managed to squish the top O-ring, which kind of had gone into the tank, which means that there wasn't a vacuum in there, and it just pissed out juice everywhere. But no, other than that, I've had no problems with this whatsoever. So once again, this tank isn't going to get a full review, but what I would say is if you're looking at a pretty sort of inexpensive dual coil postless deck tank, then this Amit dual coil jobby, whilst it is a little bit bigger, it's not the most pretty. You know, we're kind of encroaching onto the Pharaoh territory with the sort of uggo looks of it, but it does work really, really rather well. See what I mean about it not being very quiet? It is very, very loud, and that's with the airflow kind of half closed. Fully open. a little bit on the better side. But yeah, I've really enjoyed that setup. It does hold a decent amount of juice and works really rather well. And the nano mod, I think, is great. If you go in power mode, I think it's a great little mod, and I love the feel of it. I really do love the feel of it. Love the battery door. It's just, I think it's a little cracker. And that button, oh, just... Have I got the thing? Have I got the thing? I don't think I've got the thing. But the previous mod that I had from Tesla that had this button on it, I loved it for exactly the same reason. Just a brilliant button. And that concludes all the videos that I did last week. Does that conclude the whole vlog? I think it might, you know. I think it might. People will whinge that I don't say anything about Billion Lives. Billion Lives is now available on Apple and Amazon and things, I believe. Also, you've obviously got Beyond the Clouds, which is available for free on YouTube. People have got pros and cons for both, apparently. I haven't seen A Billion Lives as yet, but that's something that to make you aware of. There you go. And I do get asked about advocacy quite a lot, and I still maintain that I don't think, personally, I don't feel that we have a strong enough advocacy group in the UK that approaches things in the way that I personally believe that we should approach things. I think our first and main objective should always be to normalise vaping, to educate smokers and non-smokers alike. It's very easy to throw out petitions, even though we know petitions don't work. It's very easy to kind of call for change and all that sort of stuff, but without actually getting that information in the background, we're not going to get that. Without getting people on board, we're not going to get that. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I am going. My battery indicator is flashing. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you very, very soon. A big, heavy review week coming this week. Have it larger.